Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Throwback Thursday, where we give you a little bit of news and then a throwback movie. And today we have to talk about the DCU and Creature Commandos. So let's jump right into it. So Frank Grillo, who plays Rick Flag Sr., has talked to Screen Rant about the show. And he has said that Creature Commandos is going to be R-rated, essentially. He said, Creature Commandos is a hard R. It's fun. When we were doing it, I think one day it was me and David Harbour recording, and I was on the ground. I had to stop in the recording studio. I had to go on the ground and laugh. That's how funny and filthy it is. Now, it's things like that that do kind of make you worry. Are we going to be seeing something that is outright filthy and horrible? Well, maybe and maybe not. And this is why I say this. I say this because we live in that world now where Deadpool is a thing. And James Gunn worked on Marvel when Deadpool was in the optioning stages. He already knew that eventually Deadpool would come to the MCU. You have to believe he knew this. He had that information. And even if he didn't, by the time he left, that was public knowledge, that Deadpool would, in fact, come to the MCU. So, for him to make characters that could be a bit edgier in a comical way is not that far-fetched. And if you're doing something like that, you really do want to take it and make that sort of these characters that nobody really is going to know, that nobody really has a lot of knowledge of. Not only are the Creature Commandos a newer team, but they are kind of one of those teams that I guarantee you is exactly the type of team we want James Gunn writing. And the fact that the same actors are going to play them in animation and live action is ultimately the way you want to go. And the cast of this show looks good, with Frank Grillo leading it as Flag Sr., I think that that's going to be great. Him playing Rick Flag Sr. is going to be something that I didn't anticipate. Originally, I kind of wanted him to be Agent Frankenstein, if you want to know the truth. When I first heard the casting of Frank Grillo, I wanted him to be Agent Frankenstein. But I am rather happy with the idea that he is Rick Flag Sr. because I think he will do great in the role. Now, him saying that it's going to be this more adult-oriented show, that doesn't worry me that much. We have shows on HBO Max right now that are DCU related. That's Harley Quinn, and some of those are more adult, and they do just fine. And you have the things like Deadpool coming out, and now we also know something else about this show. That this show is a more monster-oriented show. For that simple fact, I know that they are going to have them go into the Justice League Dark, which is kind of one of the first things that James Gunn wants to touch on to bring us the Justice League Dark, which we haven't really gotten to see yet in live action of any sort, and we only got one movie in animation. So I think that this was the plan all along, and while it sort of does panic me a little bit to think of another kind of maybe superhero movie that you can't watch with the family, this being the show that it is and with the characters it is, I am hopeful this is going to turn out good. That brings us to our throwback movie of the week. And our throwback movie of the week is Superman 3, a 1983 film by Richard Lester. And basically, this is the third installment in the Superman series and the only one we haven't done a throwback movie review for. Now, that kind of shocked me when I was looking back through some of the things we've done, throwback movies on their superhero related. I realized we hadn't talked about this little gem. So here it is. Superman 3 being a 1983 movie. Started off with Gus Gorman, a computer programmer who was embezzling things through his new job he gets because he was unemployed and essentially ends up working for this company that he figures out real quickly how to embezzle things out of it. Well, this puts him in the sights of the company's CEO, Ross Webster, and his sister Vera. And they are a little bit crooked, and they act as sort of Lex Luthor. Ross Webster is your Lex Luthor in this one, as Gene Hackman didn't come back. And this movie takes place in Smallville because, essentially, Superman goes to his high school reunion in Smallville, and we get to see Lana Lane rather than a lot of Lois Lane, because a lot of them didn't want to come back because there was some sour feelings over the whole Superman 2 incident. So a lot of things do happen behind the scenes like that, but the movie turned out okay. What you get is Gus Gorman, played by Richard Pryor, who does an absolutely amazing job as Gus Gorman, who's sort of this comical villain that doesn't really want to do bad things, but he works for this guy who does, and essentially, since he's the smartest person in the room, he ends up doing things for this guy because he's the only one that can work the computers and get the things done. The movie has cameos by some of the original people. Jackie Cooper does return as Perry White, and Margot Kidder does appear as Lois Lane, but only for a little bit. And you have Robert Vega, and he plays our enemy, Ross Webster. And his sister is just kind of this non-feeling, unsympathetic person. And together they formulate a plot to kill Superman. And they use Gus Gorman to do this. Now, if you have never seen this movie, I won't give away too much more than that. That is the basic synopsis of the movie. And it is the movie that blends comedy and action with the superhero vibe. And it works. And a lot of this humor is a bit more on the adult side than the other two Superman movies. It doesn't go overboard and it's not R-rated, but it is definitely one that some of the jokes go over the kids' heads. And James Gunn probably enjoyed this movie a little bit as well, if he is going the route he is going with some of the things that have been announced. However, I think he will handle Superman in a much more serious way. You could do a lot worse than to see this movie, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. Make sure to leave us a comment in the comment box below. We want to hear from you. Make sure you share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of the conversation as well. Then don't forget to hit that like button. It's free. It helps the channel and we appreciate it. Miko says we need more subscribers and you don't want to disappoint Miko. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.